welcome back to camp. Is there, just to begin with, is there any newcomers, any outgoers?
Well, you know of one newcomer, clearly. So Sully, we've brought him in to have a bit of a look. We don't know an enormous amount about him from a character point of view. We've spoke to Frank Panisi about him last week, who raved about character and obviously on-field ability, and but a good chance for us to bring him in, get to know him a bit better, a chance for him to get an understanding of what we think is important, and hopefully when he heads back to Super Rugby, a bit of an understanding around 2 or 3 key areas that he could put a bit of time into, which is going to help his transition. So there's no thinking about using him against Argentina. We want him to earn the right to play here, and having a big super season for the Reds will be great. And we've had a lot of other guys, outside backs, who've been working hard over the last 2 or 3 months, and we'll reward them first.
Dave, what traits of his have caught your eye, obviously from his league background, and if at all anything in the last sort of, possibly trained this morning, I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, he did train this morning, so he got a reasonable sweat on. Like a lot of his skills from league for him and his position are really transferable, aren't they? He's great from a high ball point of view. He's actually got a good kicking game. Obviously very quick. And so look, he trained pretty well. He's obviously trying to get his head around the positional side of a game, and which is a little bit different for a winger. So, but it's first session. So, as I said, what's key is we want to learn a bit about him and give him a bit of clarity, so he's clear on what he needs to be focused on, in the off season and then into the Red season.
And Dave, we've seen what a sensation Marika's been, and that was on display last weekend. Does that give the whole team, squad, coaches confidence when a guy like Vunivalu comes in as well?
Yeah, look, obviously we've seen a lot of him, and as I mentioned, he's got a pretty impressive skill set. It's just easily transferable. So, I thought Marika was fantastic last week, and he was regarded the best player in Australia last year as well. So, not surprised by that performance, but it was pretty impressive.
Dave, congratulations on getting your first win up. Has the weekend off come at a good time for you, or would you have preferred to run with the momentum and get stuck straight into the Pumas? Yeah,
look, we've played 4 tests in 5 weeks, so the little break's probably been good for us. We've got a handful of knocks. A few of our more experienced boys didn't play last week, and gives them an extra week to hopefully get back in time. So we'll see how that progresses. But it'll be quite nice sitting back. We've obviously watched Argentina play Aotearoa the last couple of weeks, and not sure if they showed everything. So it'll be interesting based on what the study we've done on how they play. It'll be interesting to see how they go against the All Blacks.
Dave, how's James O'Connor progressing, and if he's fit, does he definitely come back in?
He's still a wait and see. And look, if he's available, he hasn't trained for quite a while. He hasn't trained since the Auckland test, so pretty much been on light duties. And we've got some decisions to make there. Really happy with the way that Reece went, and so he's put a lot of pressure on us to give him another crack there. So time will tell.
Does James need to be right to train by a certain point? Obviously, you've got a little bit of time before you play the RGs, but does he need to be back and training at 90% by the beginning of next week or something like that?
Yeah, look, ideally we want him to have a full week training, based on the fact that he hasn't trained much in the last 3 weeks. So, to be a chance, he'd need to be able to train fully next week.
Dave, I'm not sure whether this was your plan or not, but I guess but when the series dates were announced, there was a possibility that you may have looked at some of these later games to give an opportunity to guys who were on the fringe, who may not have played against the All Blacks and the Springboks when they were in it. But is that in your thinking now? Has anything changed in the last month or so that could impact that either way?
No. We've always talked about earning the right to play, and even though I think we've used 10 debutants in that series, they've all earned their right to play. You know, the guys that we believe are good enough and have trained really well or performed well. So yeah, we're not going to give jerseys away, but there is good competition for places, and there will be opportunities. If we think someone's ready to go, we'll play them. So, but yeah, so it's not a case of earmarking games for individuals. It's based on where we're at.
And Dave, sorry, Dave, you asked, you said, ask us on Saturday whether or not Reece Hodge is a 10. On that, have you, upon watching the game again, have you consolidated what you think his best role is moving forward?
Yeah, like I haven't been here long, have I? And so the only game he started for us has been at 10, and I thought he was excellent. So he delivered on all the areas that the reason we picked him. He gave us a bit of experience and solidity in there. He's got a big kicking game. We wanted to be able to try and put some scoreboard pressure on the All Blacks, and so his ability to kick goals and from a long way out. And then obviously he's a big man who can carry and defend well on that channel. So, I'm sure he's pretty wrapped with his performance and had a massive impact on the result.
Dave, Ian Foster was saying that he is looking at sending some of his squad home after this match. Given that the Super Rugby is really not that far away, will you maybe look at the same thing?
Yeah, we're talking about the same thing. So reducing a squad. We've had a lot of niggles, so we've held on to a few more than we might have already let go. So obviously with the Australian A games, we've been sending a number of boys back. I think 19 of the guys played in the first one. There was only a dozen last week because we took some extras to give us some cover in Queensland. So, but yeah, look, we've got a big squad and we want to reduce those numbers a little bit. So beyond Sunday, we should be thinning it out a little bit.
Dave, just wondering where you see the high tackle framework at the moment, given the weekend's incidents and a fair bit of chat around the world of where it's at the moment, and whether you're a fan of the 20-minute red card replacement rule or not.
It's something I'd certainly be interested in looking deeper into. Sometimes people are getting red cards for contesting ball in the air and someone falling awkwardly and so on. And so many variables in our game, I think it's worth sitting down and going through various parameters. So certainly not arguing with the decisions made in the weekend. I thought Nick Berry handled them very well and went through a process and made his decision. So under current law, contact with the head, you're going to run the risk of being sent off, and unfortunately 2 men did. And I think the safety aspect of our game is really important. So obviously the judiciary agreed with the decision and both guys got suspended.
And how do you get the best out of Lachie Swinton then next year and finding that, I guess, the balance in his game?
Yeah, look, he was superb, wasn't he, for the 30-odd minutes he was on the field, and his defence was a hell of a lot lower. He made an error and got punished severely for it. So, we're going to ask him to, an area he wants to work on, but we don't want to take away that edge. Accuracy is probably a word that we're looking at with him. He's got lots of areas to develop in his game. He's worked really hard around his line-out work, where I thought he was really strong. We know he's going to clean out well. We know he's going to tackle aggressively. So we like that about him. And so a lot of it's just around technical excellence, because he'll be even more devastating when he's hitting lower.
Dave, do you keep him around for the next few weeks, or just is it better to give him a breather?
We've got him here at the moment. We've got a handful of guys who are injured and who may not be able to play again, and so we'll make decisions on those guys as we go. But it's a big squad here and a lot to look after, and so we've got a few things to sort through. We've got to make sure that we're giving enough reps to the guys who are going to be potentially playing over the next few weeks.
If it's a money thing, Dave, I'm sure Tom and Nine Network can arrange some of that funding to come across a bit earlier.
That'll be great. Thank you.
Dave, I just had a follow-up on Suli. Obviously, some of the league converts in the past haven't got that rugby background. I mean, does he look really comfortable on a rugby field, I guess, like back in the code, given his history?
Yeah, I mean, it's what he played at high school. So he played a lot of rugby and obviously got targeted to go to league. So he's just been away from the game for a while, but he understands the game and he's just got a lot to learn around all our structures and the role of the back three and so on. It's just a little bit different in our game, obviously. So that's the reason for bringing him in. He'll get a bit of time here and hopefully learn a bit, get a bit of clarity and then get away and get into some work post-Christmas.
And Dave, there's not been too much consistent in Australian rugby for quite a while. How does the Wallabies go about winning consistently?
Well, and we were putting a lot of time into the detail of our game. So what we know is if we can generate quick ball through quality carry and clean, you can put defences under pressure. And so we're working really hard on our skill sets and our ability to build pressure. And then defensively, I think we made really good strides. So even the game we got pumped in, we defended for a big chunk of that game. We defended well, but probably a bit naive early on and paid the price. So we've just got to keep growing our game. And I've mentioned this a lot, but we're a long way from where we could be. And we've got to create more depth and competition for places. So, I guess we're thinking of a long game, but the expectation is we've got to win now. And so we're certainly not giving the boys an out by talking about being a developing side and a young side. But we've got a lot of growth in us.